There's been a lot of hype going on lately about Xbox Game Pass. Microsoft has really been pushing this service for a very long time. That huge acquisition of Bethesda was part of expanding Game Pass so that every Bethesda game going forward would launch on Game Pass day one. And for a while, every single first-party Microsoft game has also been day one on Game Pass. But recently, we've had a few other games like MLB The Show. A game that has been exclusive on PlayStation for a long time is now a multi-platform game because Sony and MLB reached a new deal to have it become a multi-platform game because that's what the MLB wanted. So you notice that the version of MLB The Show on the Xbox, the publisher listed is not Sony, it's actually MLB. But on the PlayStation version, Sony is the publisher. So they got some arrangement going on where Sony's still involved in the creation of the game and they publish it on the PlayStation, but now it's available on other systems. But when it was revealed that Xbox Game Pass would get MLB The Show day one, while for the PlayStation 5, you'd have to pay $70 for it. Holy shit, were the fanboys going crazy. The Xbox fanboys were like, see, look at this. Look at how great Xbox is that now we're getting PlayStation exclusives on Game Pass. And then the Sony fans were pissed off because they have to pay $70 for a game that Xbox players essentially get for free, if they're subscribed to Game Pass. And I get it, I'm sure it's gotta sting a little bit being a Sony fan and playing MLB The Show, having that game exclusive to your platform for years, and now this year it's not only coming to other platforms, but it costs $70 full price on PlayStation, while Xbox players get a better deal. There just seems to be this general feeling in the video game community that Sony really needs to find an answer to Game Pass. They've had PlayStation Now for so many years, but it just hasn't been doing that great for Sony, and that's considering the fact that PlayStation Now has been in the market about 2 years before Game Pass was even a thing. So it makes for an interesting conversation. Should Sony be worried about Game Pass? And I guess the answer to that question depends on what the actual future of gaming is going to look like. If gaming in the future is just going to be subscription services, like buying games separately for full price won't even be a thing anymore. People are just going to be subscribed to different things like Game Pass, GeForce Now, PlayStation Now, any subscription service you can think of. If you believe that to be the future of gaming, then yeah, Sony should be worried because Microsoft is so far ahead of them in that market. As far as the actual hardware market is concerned, Sony is so far ahead of Microsoft. And if you believe that console gaming still has a future, if you believe that there will still be a demand to buy games at full price, then Sony really doesn't have to worry that much about Game Pass because they're killing it as far as the hardware goes. The PlayStation 5 already is so far ahead of the Xbox Series X. And I honestly don't see that changing at all this entire generation. I think Sony has this generation on lock. A lot of the Xbox fanboys believe that Game Pass is so great that people are going to choose to buy an Xbox console over a PlayStation, but I just don't see that happening. I don't care how great Game Pass does, I just don't see Sony actually losing in terms of total hardware sales to Microsoft. I think that ship has sailed at this point because there are just so many other platforms you can play Xbox exclusives on. You can play it on PC, you can even play it on your smartphone now through the xCloud. So, that's a lot different from what Sony is doing, where you can pretty much only play PlayStation games on a PlayStation console. And I know recently Sony has been putting out games on PC, but these are games that are like 4 or 5 years old, and they've already made the money that Sony wanted to make from them. So Sony said, fuck it, we're going to put these games on PC and make even more money because it will sell, and that's exactly what happened. We're never going to see a situation where first-party PlayStation titles launch on PC day one. Even PlayStation Now streaming, Sony has said in the past that they have no plans on putting their exclusive titles on that platform day one. You're going to have to buy it standalone if you want to play it new, and then it'll make its way over to PS Now at a later time. Sony seems very happy with that model. It's obviously making them a lot of money, so I don't see that changing. I really don't. So I don't really think that Game Pass is a huge threat to Sony's bottom line. Although one could make the case that, the more that Game Pass gets popular, the more it gets adopted by more people. I mean, the subscription rates are skyrocketing. I think a year ago they only had like 8 million. Now they've surpassed 20 million Game Pass subscriptions. So there's this feeling that the more subscription services take off and the more popular they become in the gaming industry, the more pressure that's put on Sony to do something and I guess you could say adapt to the market, because Game Pass has all these games day one on their service while Sony does not do that. But maybe the more successful Game Pass becomes, the more Sony is enticed to follow in Microsoft's footsteps and have all their games launch on PS Now day one. I just don't see that ever happening. I think, even look at the TV and movie industry. You look at Netflix, you look at Hulu, you look at all these different services that are doing well. The movie theaters have survived and thrived despite streaming being more prevalent. I mean, over the past year, that hasn't been the case, but that's more of a public health thing rather than people just deciding that streaming is the better way to go and they'll never go to a movie theater again. So you can think of Sony and the PlayStation console as the movie theater experience. You pay full price for admission, buying the game full price and not having it on a streaming service or subscription service day one, but the game stands on its own. It's a high quality game. Sony is known for producing really good first party titles, so they can just keep doing that because the games will continue to sell no matter what. I don't care how well Game Pass does. As long as Sony's games, as long as the quality maintains itself and the games are still worth playing, people are still going to buy them no matter what. Same thing goes for Nintendo. I really don't see Nintendo starting a Game Pass-like service anytime soon. And I could already see the Microsoft fanboys envisioning a scenario where Microsoft buys out Nintendo or cuts a deal with Nintendo. People have been talking about that for a while, about Game Pass coming to the Switch. I don't see that happening either. I just don't see Game Pass having much of an overall effect on how Sony and Nintendo does business currently. I don't. And this isn't me trying to downplay the significance of Game Pass, because Game Pass is a very important thing, and it's doing very well for Microsoft, at least so far. But at the end of the day, I think Microsoft's going to do what Microsoft's going to do. They're going to focus more on subscription services and quantity over quality. That's their main concern with their games. They just want to have so many fucking games on their platform and their subscription, they don't necessarily care that they're 10 out of 10 games, while Sony is more concerned about the quality of their games, as well as Nintendo. And I think as long as the games are good, people are still going to buy the consoles, they're still going to buy the games, and nothing is going to fundamentally change. Because despite how well Game Pass is doing, and despite all the games that Microsoft is providing for that platform, at the end of the day, Sony and Nintendo have a much better reputation as far as the quality of the games themselves. And as long as that's maintained, people will have a reason to buy consoles, because people also talk about, well, Game Pass and subscriptions and streaming, it's going to kill console gaming entirely, and everyone's just going to play on streaming services. I don't see that happening anytime soon, especially with how awful the streaming technology is at this current moment. But regardless of how well these streaming services and subscription services go, Sony and Nintendo have enough reason for consumers to continue to invest in the dedicated hardware. With the Nintendo consoles, they have their gimmicks that work out very well, like the Switch gimmick. It makes people want to buy the console and invest in the ecosystem and keep buying games for the Switch, because the whole, you could do it on the go, but then you could dock it. Like, stuff like that, that's never gonna go away. And Sony's also got their own innovations, like VR. I think the PlayStation VR headset is the most successful VR headset in history. So as long as Nintendo and Sony keep innovating and they keep providing high-quality gaming experiences, nothing is going to change. They're not going to have to resort to putting all their games on a streaming service day one like Microsoft's doing. I know Sony has done it where if you have PlayStation Plus, it gives you a collection of certain games on the PS5, and they're trying to be a little bit more competitive, but I just don't think that PlayStation Now is ever going to be their main priority and the only thing they're focused on, as Microsoft is with Game Pass. So, should Sony worry about Game Pass and how successful it's been for Microsoft? I don't think so, but I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.